Topping today's news, police seeking the public's help in identifying the driver responsible for killing a woman in a hit-and-run incident early Monday. The government doing all it can to get off the European Union's blacklist, and a timely forum on drug use prevention being hosted here in the Bahamas. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It is a pleasure to have you join us. Officers attached to the Traffic Division of the Royal Bahamas Police Force are requesting the public's assistance in locating the driver of this vehicle seen here on your television screen, who is responsible for that hit-and-run incident that claimed the life of a female pedestrian early Monday morning. As reported sometime around 12:20 a.m., the woman was on the southern side of Wolf Road near Palm Beach Street when she was struck by the driver of that red Honda vehicle who was traveling west along Wolf Road. The victim was dragged under the vehicle from Palm Beach Street to near the Wilson Track area. Investigation thus far have revealed that as a result of the incident, the vehicle received damages to the left front side and damages to the undercarriage. Anyone with information that can assist police in locating the driver or the vehicle, you're asked to contact the police at 919-911, the traffic police station on the East-West Highway at 397-8050, 397-8050. In other crime news, a 21-year-old male is in police custody after he was found in possession of an illegal firearm and ammunition. That was on Saturday. Police say the suspect, a resident of Douglas Road, was arrested after officers attached to Operation Secure City, acting on intelligence, executed a search warrant on a home in Gambia Village. That was around 8:30 p.m. where they discovered the items. Investigations continue into that matter as well. As it relates to concerns of the Bahamas complying with the European Union's substance requirements under the EU List Criterion 2.2, or in other words, getting off the blacklist, the Davis administration has enlisted banking firm BDO to develop a reporting portal for economic substance reporting, or a system where entities report their profits and expenditures. This, according to Minister of Legal Affairs and Attorney General Senator Ryan Pinder, who says the government is set to address deficiencies in the economic substance portal in time for the European Union's re-rating later this year.
It is important that a purpose-built reporting platform to manage the economic substance reporting in a method that is recognized and approved by the EU and the OECD. Our government has retained the firm BDO to develop the reporting platform. BDO is the same firm that designed and manages the BOSS system that I just spoke about for beneficial ownership. Now, this should give the industry a sense of confidence in the economic substance reporting portal, because the BOSS portal has been rather effective for beneficial ownership reporting with very little complaints by the industry at large. I am pleased to announce that we are on pace for the launch of the portal in time for our re-rating by the EU later this year. It should be noted that the BDO Economic Substance Reporting Portal is being used in the region by the BVI and Barbados for their reporting without criticism by the EU or the OECD.
On Monday, the Attorney General said the aim is to bring our economic substance regime into compliance with the international best practices as framed by the OECD.
It is important that a purpose-built reporting platform to manage the economic substance reporting in a method that is recognized and approved by the EU and the OECD. Our government has retained the firm BDO to develop the reporting platform. BDO is the same firm that designed and manages the BOSS system that I just spoke about for beneficial ownership. Now, this should give the industry a sense of confidence in the economic substance reporting portal, because the BOSS portal has been rather effective for beneficial ownership reporting with very little complaints by the industry at large. I am pleased to announce that we are on pace for the launch of the portal in time for our re-rating by the EU later this year. It should be noted that the BDO Economic Substance Reporting Portal is being used in the region by the BVI and Barbados for their reporting without criticism by the EU or the OECD.
Testing for the Economic Substance Reporting Portal is set to begin this month and expected to go live on September 8th. Astonia Walker, the mother of Dionia Bella Walker, the 4-year-old girl who was beaten to death by the mother's live-in boyfriend, Darion Smith, in November of 2021, was sentenced to 3 years in prison for the role that she played in her daughter's death and failing to protect her daughter. According to reports, the investigation revealed that the little girl was abused by her mother and boyfriend in the weeks and months leading up to her death. As a result, the police charged Smith with murder and Walker with child cruelty and exposing a child to grievous harm. Smith pleaded guilty to the murder and is currently serving a 25-year sentence as part of a plea deal. The murder of little Bella shocked the nation and ignited calls for better protection of children who may live in abusive environments. The Bahamas Christian Council condemning the recent sexual assault of a 9-year-old girl that took place over the weekend during a press conference held Tuesday. That was Tuesday afternoon at the William Thompson Auditorium. President of the BCC, Bishop Delton Fernando, says the council stands united in grief and condemnation as they address what they call a rape culture here in the country.
We are deeply troubled as a society. This is only a sign of what is going wrong in the Bahamian society. We stand against any violence against children. We stand against the rape culture that seemingly is developing in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And we wholesomely want to provide what the church does in terms of the survivors of these events. To let them know that the church stands in this important role to provide counsel, to provide the Spirit of God, to help with the wholeness and repair of the whole being that would have been afflicted with this kind of injustice.
A father himself, Bishop Fernando, expressed personal displeasure on the matter, also addressing the need for more collaboration between the government and the church to address these social ills.
We're very concerned, and I'm outraged. I mean, I have a 14-year-old. I would tell you that even as a man of faith, if this would happen to my 14-year-old, I would be livid. I would be enraged. And as was said yesterday, we are changing the way we operate now. We used to be a society where we had some comfortability with our children being right outside our house, being in our community. We don't even know our community anymore. And so the church has no problem in working with the entities. We will have conversations that are being asked of by the state to work with social services, to work with urban renewal, to work with these entities, to see that we can bring the spiritual component, but we also will hit the ground and work some of our programs outside of the walls of the church.
Last month, National Security Minister Wayne Munro reported a 64% increase in rape reports on New Providence in the first 5 months of 2023 compared to 2022. That said, Bishop Fernando is calling on lawmakers to put in place stiffer penalties for sexual offenders.
I believe that the perpetrators of these kind of events ought to be dealt with to the full extent of the law. If it is that our systems are failing us, that these are repeat offenders, I don't know it to be unfact, but it's being alleged that some of these acts and heinous acts are being carried out by repeat offenders. The society must put this fail-safe mechanisms in place so that when these persons who are known to be of this kind of mindset can be monitored, their actions can be tracked, that the full extent of the law will lend itself to them, that maybe they might not even be given bail.
He said this tragic event is a stark reminder that we as a nation must work together to create a safer environment for children. During his contribution to the Protection Against Violence Bill 2023 in the House of Assembly last week, Minister of National Security Wayne Munro, who expressed confidence in the details of the bill he described as well thought out and with few weaknesses, was pleased to know that there are some aspects of the bill that are already in play. For instance, construction is underway for a designated location for police to interview victims of violence and domestic abuse.
When Commissioner Fernando was sworn in, he made it his mission to start a direction towards one centralized space where the victims of sexual offenses, domestic violence could be accommodated, and that is well underway. And the area is specifically day-to-day operated by Inspector Kendra Wims, who advised me that they are about 3 to 4 months conservatively away from completing this structure that will contain for the first time not only interview suites, spaces for the police to deal with complaints and offenders, but will contain a children's play area, because when children come into the police, you need somewhere for them to be relaxed and safe.
Minister Monroe noted that the Greek Orthodox Church has volunteered to outfit the children's play area in the new interview facility for victims of rape and domestic violence. He says there are also plans to assist victims of violence and abuse beyond the interview and investigation process.
There will also be short-term accommodations for victims of sexual offenses and domestic violence, while the Department of Social Services seek to place them more long-term. And so even that aspect of safe, secure housing is already being addressed, although this bill is not an act yet.
According to Minister Monroe, the bill will also seek to provide psychological support for offenders of violence and abuse. However, he wants to make it clear that this does not mean that the law will take it easy on offenders.
There is an aspect dealing with offenders in this bill. And the Honorable Prime Minister has made the point that dealing with recidivism is important. And if hurt people, then of course you have to address that. Because if you have long vision, you will see that you have to look after the mental health of offenders. You will see that unless you intend to send all of them out to the Sandlands Rehabilitation Center, you have to make provision in the correctional facility for the examination, the evaluation, and the treatment of offenders.
That was Minister of National Security Wayne Monroe, who commended the Davis administration for its proactive approach to greater support for victims of violence and abuse and psychological support for perpetrators of violence and abuse. And finally, in this segment, fire erupted in a Haitian village, gutting a single-story structure on Monday night, leaving several families without a home. Luckily, there were no reports of loss of life or injuries. An extensive investigation has now been launched by fire services and the Royal Bahamas Police Force into the circumstances surrounding the cause of the blaze that engulfed the home in the Cool Acres area just off Joe Farrington Road. Police notified media of the blaze just around 9:30 p.m. Director of Fire Services Department, Chief Superintendent Kenrick Morris, gave the reporters on the scene the following details.
Sometime around 8:50 p.m. today's date, the fire department received part of the reported building fire, the Haitian village Cool Acres, or Sandlands Village Road, or Joe Farrington Road. As a result of this information received, the fire department responded to 4 fire appliances. Upon arrival, they met a single-story, multiple-room wooden structure engulfed in flames. The same has been extinguished with minor, no injuries.
While he could not say how many people lived in the structure and were displaced, Chief Superintendent Morris says he believes the structure had 15 rooms or more. He gave this appeal to residents.
Let's be more conscious when it comes to fires. Don't leave candles unattended like this in the homes. That's one of the number one cause. I can't say that's the case here today because we're still conducting our inquiries. But we have to be more fire safety conscious when it comes to fires.
The cause of the blaze is still under investigation. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.